What's your first lesson experience like for your first time students? So, martial arts school owners, one of the most important elements or cogs in your school is that first lesson and the second lesson. Obviously, the sales process, the initial sales process, but the first time that a student visits your school, the first time a parent, a family visits your school, you need to make sure that you've got that process, that environment absolutely nailed on. It needs to be stage managed very, very well. Now, some of you might just throw students into a normal lesson and maybe walk over to them every now and again, shadowing them, maybe have one of your other higher grades working with them for a few minutes. Now, again, that's better than nothing, but what we need to understand is that a martial arts environment is very alien compared to other typical, and again, I'm going to say this now, seasonal, recreational sports types activities. So it's a lot different than football, obviously, rugby, netball, basketball, swimming, dance. Parents have got an idea of what that's like before they've even visited. Now, when it comes to a martial arts school, they've normally got visions of Karate Kid or again Cobra Kai or something like that. Maybe even Enter the Dragon, who knows, or a particular martial arts film. But what you need to do is really, really choreograph and stage manage that first lesson without a doubt. Because there's the old saying, isn't there? I say this to lots of my mentees: you only get one chance to make a first impression. So you need to make sure that that first physical impression, that first tangible impression of you, your team, the school, your students is a fantastic one, because the main aim of the first lesson is to get them back for the second lesson. That's the number one aim. Of course, you want the students to have fun. Of course, you want the parents to see the benefits and so on. But your main aim is to get them back to that second lesson, because if not, the first lesson, you're just turning the wheels in the business. It's a pointless task. So again, lots of the people that I get to chat with don't have that sales process, that first, second enrollment conference process nailed on. Sometimes you don't even have any process. And again, if that's you, don't worry, it's easily fixed. But we need to make sure that we're looking at every element of our business, especially the most important ones first, trying our best to analyze it, dissect it, perfect it. And again, it's going to be an evolution. But one thing you shouldn't do is just throw students into a first time lesson, into a lesson the first time they've ever visited your school, and just hope that they keep up, just hope that they enjoy it. And another bad thing is, if your lessons are 45, 50 minutes, an hour long, you don't want them joining in for 5 minutes, then sat down for half an hour, then joining in for another 5 minutes and sat down for half an hour. Take off your martial arts instructor's hat and just then have a look at it from a parent's point of view. So we always need to, um, I think I just said it, stage manage the process so that we can see where the weaknesses are. You might even, as well, I recommend my mentees do this a lot. Always try and set up a little bit of a video recorder, maybe your phone, obviously, if it'll last that long, and set your phone back and then record the experience. And when you watch it back, you'll be able to see some major flaws in the process. So again, your first time students, the main aim is to get them back for the second lesson. Then on the second lesson, hopefully they're ready. Hopefully they've been prepared enough and educated on how fantastic your program is, how fantastic training to black belt with you is, and so on, that they do enroll. But the first lesson experience, things that I'd be looking at: where are the parents? Are they sat down watching? Is there enough space for them? Where are the first lesson students? Is it a separate lesson, a mini little lesson like consultation? Are they just joining into the first lesson? Do you make sure that there's clear 2 or 3 things that they're being taught every single first lesson, so that when they come back to the second lesson, again, talking across different students here, you all know what they should have been taught the first lesson, so that you can build on that in the second and add more things to it. So again, one thing that I wouldn't do is just let one of your brown belts or one of your high grades help them out for the first lesson. Then another student, on the first lesson, maybe the next week, another brown belt helps them out, because there's a difference in experience there, and that's not what you want. You want to make sure you've got that consistency, a bit like you have across the standards with your grades. You'll know, again, I'm linking this to karate now. I'll know what standard yellow belts were, orange belt, green belts, your intermediates, your brown belts, your low black belts, your high black belts. You need to make sure you've got standards associated, or consistencies associated with first lesson, this is what needs to be covered, second lesson, this is what needs to be covered, and so on. So yeah, I'm just a quick video. Before I forget though, if you haven't already subscribed, please make sure you do so, because I need to know what martial arts school is, what videos you like, what videos you want to see more of. So if you're watching this now, put a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what else you'd like to learn about, really. But again, if you haven't invested in my book, it's out on April 11th, 2025. If you're watching this after that date, then please invest in a copy if you haven't already done so. How to build a highly profitable martial arts school. So there's lots of strategies, tips, pointers, guidelines on things that you should do and definitely things that you shouldn't do if you're wanting to build a highly profitable cash flowing business, really. So again, just to recap, just to wrap it all up, your first lesson students are crucial because they're the white belts, they're the future, again, future black belts, really. They're the furtherance of your art, so you need to make sure you're definitely looking after those white belts. And the main aim on that first lesson is to get them back to the second lesson, but you're only going to get them back to the second lesson if you analyze, microanalyze, dissect the process and see how it can be improved. Now, that doesn't mean you need to teach them more technical things. It means they need to enjoy the lesson, and the parent support network, need to see the massive value of training with you, with your instructors at your school, what it has to them in their life, definitely. Don't just be teaching them the physical skills that they could learn off YouTube. Now, we both know that's no good, learning a martial art off YouTube, but hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say there. We need to make sure that the first lesson, the number one aim is to get them back to the second lesson. And in order to get them back to the second lesson, you need to make sure you're teaching them some amazing things so that the parents are thinking, wow, we need to get them enrolled into this. Okay, don't just be teaching the physical skills, and don't just be throwing them over to a brown belt. You spent money on marketing, hopefully, to get them through the door. You need to make sure you look after them. Otherwise, you're just letting the money slip through your net, and you might as well not be doing any marketing. Good luck, everybody. Like I said, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Give it a like. Put comments in the section below if there's other things you'd like to learn about building a profitable martial arts school. All the best, everybody. Take care. Good luck.